Welcome back to Uncharted Narratives. Today's episode is for every nurse and healthcare leader who feels they're outgrowing their job description. My guest is Munazza Ahmed, a powerhouse nurse practitioner, clinical educator, and leadership voice whose career stretches across countries, cultures, and care settings. Munazza's journey is all about evolution. She's navigated new healthcare systems, stepped into bigger leadership roles, and learned how to, as she says, speak their language, from patients at the bedside to executives in the boardroom. In this conversation, we get into the real skills that move careers forward: emotional intelligence, cultural agility, self-awareness, and the courage to invest in yourself. We talk about what it's like to be a highly qualified woman who still battles self-doubt, how mentorship can completely change a young nurse's trajectory, and why leaders who ignore mental health and psychological safety are already losing their teams. And Munazza brings it back to one simple, unforgettable line: just do it. You have to invest in yourself. If you're standing at the edge of a promotion, a pivot, or a new country and you're not sure if you're ready, this episode is your sign. Let's dive in.
Munazza, salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. How are you?
It is my first time meeting you, so I just ask you, do you speak Arabic?
شوي
شوي
شوي.
شوي. بس بتفهمي علينا بالعربي؟ ما بتفهم علينا بالعربي. Okay. طيب منزه, we both of us try to manage this call, and every time I keep changing this from my end, which is very bad for me, but finally we make it when you come to US. So now you are
Yes,
talking with me from the US, not from Saudi, right?
yes, I'm in US. That's why I thought that would be easier to coordinate
Eh,
when we're in the same time zone.
yeah, now we are in the same time zone. So now you are in Philly. So how is the weather there?
You know what? It was 51 degrees. It started raining. It was very cold when I got in. It was snowing and just too cold, like around maybe 30 degrees. But Alhamdulillah, this morning you woke up and it was raining and just really, the weather here is actually warmer than what it is in Riyadh. In Riyadh, it was around -1. So that's around 32 degrees. So my husband from Riyadh sends me a picture. He's like, hey, I send him 51 degrees. And I'm like, you know what? It's actually colder in Riyadh than it is in Philly
Yes, yeah,
in December.
because you are in the Philly, but if you are more in the north, like when you are Chicago, yeah, you will feel the difference. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I found you have very interesting journey, and I would like to know more about who you are, what you are doing. So I found your journey; it's very interesting, and you have played different role, and not only the role you have play in different healthcare system in different country. So in a nutshell, if you just would like to give us how you start and how you move across all those countries until you come for who you are right now.
Wow, in a nutshell. Okay. First of all, I'm really excited about it. I know I've seen your profile as well, and mashallah, you've done a lot yourself, and congratulations for that and being an advocate for nursing. So I really appreciate that. It's an honor for me actually to be here with you. So first, like in a nutshell, my life was very interesting. So really quickly, I was actually born in Pakistan, but I was not raised in Pakistan. Family ended up moving to Saudi Arabia when I was only 3 months old. So I never lived in Pakistan. But my grandfather retired from a company called Aramco.
Mm.
And so he kind of got my dad in Aramco before he retired. So I'm like the third generation coming back to Saudi Arabia. So my dad ended up staying there 45 years, mashallah. He retired after working in Aramco. And so during that time, we were raised in Saudi Arabia, but we were in Aramco camps we were with expats.
Mm.
So we never got exposed to the Saudi culture at that point. My dad was, my mother was a teacher in one of the schools, but they got exposed to it as children, we didn't. So we went to American schools, we were in American camps, we grew up with that, but the schools were only till 9th grade. So if you were an expat, you weren't allowed to go to any Saudi schools because you're not Saudi. So we actually had to leave the country. And that's when I ended up coming to US because the company basically told my dad, you can go anywhere. You can send your kids anywhere. We'll pay for it. So we had like recruiters coming to from all over the world coming to Saudi, like one of the schools, like how they do for college, they do for high school. And my dad chose one in Greer school. It's in Tyrone, Pennsylvania. It's a girls' boarding school. So he felt really comfortable that, I can send my daughters there. So that's how my journey started. I was 14 years old and we ended up going alone. Believe me, when I got here, I didn't know how to iron. I didn't know how to do laundry or anything like that. So we ended up staying. I graduated from this small girls' boarding school. And then that's when my journey just started. Like I've been in right after that, I was in Texas for a little bit, in Magnolia, Arkansas. And that's when 9/11 happened. I ended up moving to West Virginia. I went to West Virginia, did my nursing program there. And then I ended up moving to Michigan finally. Michigan is where I'm a resident of. And I got married there. My family is there currently. And so I got into nursing. So I've been in nursing since I graduated 2007. And so I've been in nursing, and you can calculate how long, almost 20 years. Um, in my career, like I was almost 10 years working as a bedside nurse in critical care. So I started in CCU, ICU, step down, bed surge. I did that. And then 5 years into that, I realized that I cannot just be bedside. I need to do more. I'm not made just to be bedside. I need to be independent. I need to do more. So I ended up going to NP school, which was in Michigan. That's how I think my journey starts, because I ended up getting married. I got pregnant during that school. It was so many things that was happening. And, all of us nurses, including yourself, we're all very adaptable and resilient. So I felt that I can do anything in the world. So I think I ended up working as an NP about maybe 9 years. So I worked as a bedside nurse for 9 years and I ended up working in NP in primary care internal medicine in Dearborn. I love Dearborn. Absolutely. I love the community. I love the Middle Eastern community. And you can see, because I was raised in Saudi Arabia, so I'm going to be attracted to that, right? I fit in. So I worked there for a long time. And then I told my husband, dude, I'm getting bored. We need to do something. So this is December 2019, January, I think. Yeah, January 2019. And we started looking at different places to work. Should we work in UAE? Should we go to Saudi? Should we go to, Qatar? Where should we go? And we literally were just applying to different jobs. And then we came an opportunity in Abu Dhabi in Cleveland Clinic. I went there. We kind of surveyed. It was okay. And then close to the end of the year, we got an opportunity in Qatar. And it was like commissioning a hospital that's affiliated with Northwestern in Chicago. So I felt very comfortable. I wasn't like worried that I'm basically going from one home to another home. Like I felt comfortable because it was going to be Northwestern Chicago. So cool. It was Al Fardan Medical. And Al Fardan is a very big family in Qatar, like number one richest family, They were the pearl divers. And so, we went there. It was great during the COVID time, of course. After being there in 2 months, COVID hit, everything shut down. So I'm like in a foreign country with my family. Thank God. Everyone was with me, my son and my husband. And I went into I was a nurse practitioner there. And then I became a lead of nurse practitioners. So I was kind of managing the nurse practitioners there. But remember, it was COVID. So we didn't even open yet. So we were supposed to open in June, ended up opening in September. And then I was like, okay, fine. We opened, we ran, we saw patients. It was great. I was working with a CMO who was from America. So it was really easy to transition my role, to explain my role. Like, what am I? Who am I? I'm a nurse practitioner. So fast forward, I left 4 years later. I ended up having another child. So I wanted to go back to US, so my parents can meet him, because we were trapped in Qatar. We didn't have any flights to US. Sometimes I was like, we'll never be able to leave. But then eventually in 2023, I ended up leaving Qatar back to US. I worked there. I have my business, Holistic Pathways, did that. And I said, dude, I'm bored again. I need to go back. I need to do something. We were meant to be in Saudi Arabia. I have to be in Saudi Arabia. My grandfather was there. My dad was there. I have to go back. So of course I got another opportunity, and it was a nurse practitioner, and I looked it up. It's very limited. I already knew what I was getting myself into. And that's the thing. New things, new challenges kind of make me excited, especially in this field of nursing. So when I got there, it was like, wow, I'm back kind of home. I felt comfortable in Saudi. I was never raised in Riyadh. I was raised in the Eastern province.
In Khobar, right?
Yeah, it was near we were near Khobar, but we were in a small city called Bakek or Abkek.
Gig.
And it's near Dhahran. So my dad worked in Dhahran and then he worked in Abkek. He ended up retiring from there. We were a very small city, but Dammam, Khobar, that was like our
It's still
home.
close.
Yeah, it's close, right? But then I came to Riyadh. Riyadh was new. The only time we used to go to Riyadh was when we used to get our US visa. So I remember like we would travel 5 hours because I was an F1 visa,
Mm.
when I first started going to high school, and we would drive 5 hours to Riyadh, and we would get, go through this dreading interview process to get your visa. And then, so that was the only thing I saw in Riyadh. But then moving into Riyadh, getting to the position, being offered to be like their professors in the university, I was so excited because it's Princess Noura. It's like all women university. It's the biggest and largest university and only all women university.
Fancy
Of
also.
course. Exactly. I didn't even get to the fancy part yet.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I will do it because in my career, I've had taught in colleges and like clinical instructors. We've all done preceptorship, clinical instructors in local community colleges in Michigan. So I was kind of interested in academia, but I didn't know that I would be so interested in it. So I got this opportunity. I said, okay, I'll do half-half. I'm not going to be paid for it. But I said, no problem. I'm here for the experience. And this is the best thing. If I can change one person's life doing this, I'm okay with it. So I got into academia like 2024 when we got to Saudi, March. Academia. And then I was a nurse practitioner. I opened a mental health clinic there. Mental health, it's a big stigma, in our culture. You know that. And I said, I'm going to start with the most taboo clinic. And I had a lot of obstacles. A lot of people told me, if you open this clinic, then it means we're going to have more people who are going to confess they have this issue. And then we need more resources. And I said, that's okay. And that's the point. We want people to come up and speak, right? So I was like, dude, no, we need to like do this. So I opened my clinic in mental health. I started that. That was my first like goal that I had. It took months. I finally opened in October, which was the one mental health day, and an opening in October 15th. And I said, I'll just do it. And meanwhile, I'm still teaching like 3 days a week and still doing this clinic, crazy. And this opportunity comes that, hey, do you want to be a director of nurse practitioners? I mean, you're the one who has the most experience probably in the whole country. A lot of people have the degrees, but they don't have the experience. And I almost had like 11 years experience in just as being a nurse practitioner and with leadership. So I got into that and I said yes. And then they said, you want to do inpatient? I said, inpatient? I've not been a nurse in the last 11 years. Nurse practitioner is very different than being a bedside nurse. So at this point, I was like, okay, fine, just do it. Once again, I'll take the challenge. I'll do it. So I had 3 jobs at this one point: a director of nurse practitioner, director of inpatient, and academia. And absolutely doing that until July. And then I kind of gave up the inpatient because that's really not my passion. So I said, I'll stick with the director and then I'll stick with academia. I just can't get rid of the academia.
Mm.
They say I'm crazy, but I can't do it. I feel both sides of it and I absolutely love it. And I will keep like fighting for it. So I can fight. Like when I go to my work in the hospital, so I'm like, okay, I'm mentoring the students. I'm mentoring the master's students. I'm telling them, clinically, I'm helping them being a director. So I'm coming from advocating the hospital. Like I'm advocating supporting the nurses because they have to take care of these students, right? So, and then I go to the university and then I'm advocating there, empowering them. Okay, when you go to the hospital, you have to do X, Y, Z. So you have to be on time. You have to be there to learn. You can't just be there and just not be on time and not show what you're doing. You're a woman, you're a Saudi girl. You've not worked ever. This is new. Show yourself. So I'm kind of motivating there. And then I go there and then I have complaints about the students. And then I get like, really like, I can feel my blood boiling because I kind of really care about these students and they're like my little children. So I kind of like, I have to like change my hats and be like, okay, fine. As an administrator, I have to support them because we're short. And how can they have 3, 4 students and still be able to manage a 5:1 ratio? How do I motivate them? And then, tell them to like, don't say these things and then go to the university and then change my hat again and then tell them,
And
please be a team player.
this is sorry here. I want to interrupt you because this is
No,
the
no,
main
please,
reason
because I can keep going forever.
where I found it interesting to bring someone play different role in different industry for the same, in different role in different organization for the same industry. And if I told you from the beginning in nutshell, but mashallah, I I don't know how I will
Sorry.
manage this episode. It's very hard for me, but hopefully we will take it together slowly. One things you while you are mentioning all those organization in your journey, you remind me of a lot of the things. I've been in Saudi. I work on Saudi not as a nurse, but in the Saudi market. I am a nurse, but after practice, working more in technician. So I have worked with the Cleveland Clinic. We work also with Sidra, BNU,
Yeah.
John Hopkins, Aramco, all of those things you remind me. One thing's also skipped to my mind. I don't know if you have met or you work, I believe yes, with Dr. Ahmed Al Hussawi. He been here in this podcast and he had a very interesting insight. Did the interview with me before he become, CNO, I think, for the BNU hospital.
He's my boss.
Oh, he is very good.
He is very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, until
Very
now,
inspirational.
he is very passionate and he is keen to support the industry like you. This is the first time I know he is your boss, but sounds good. Speaking on the boss and leadership, this is something that's good to start with. How do you define the impact mean in your role today?
I have had a lot of different hats and Alhamdulillah, like when I came, and this is what I mentioned earlier, my goal is to just make a difference in one person's life. And really, that's my purpose. I keep my expectations very minimal. So I honestly, truly feel before in the beginning, I felt like, I had the imposter syndrome and I was like, no, I can't do it. How am I going to work in Saudi Arabia? And how am I going to motivate these young girls and, this and that. But then I got to understand the culture. And that's why I'm so thankful of being in academia because I got to understand the culture, the struggles these students have. And that's what helped me change the style of my communication, changed my perception of how I can deal with the community so I can better impact. Because if I come with the mentality of being an American and I'm an American and I'm just going to do this, I'm going to face a roadblock. So I really, being a Muslim, alhamdulillah, being a Muslim, being raised in Saudi Arabia, but I've been longer in the US. So you know, and this is by choice that I went there, right? Nobody told me to go. But I really truly feel now that I have impacted a lot of people just because I opened myself to change and adapt and to accept. And now I know I would impact. Maybe I didn't impact anyone the first 6 months I was there, but when I realized that it's the way that I am communicating and my body language, I need to be like them, think like them, be in their levels, and they really look up to me. And I need to take that energy and I need to, not from an ego or arrogant way, I don't have a drop of that, but to take that and be that mentor for them, be that person that they want me to be. So I feel like I've impacted a lot of people. And I've had people who come up to me and say that I remember that you said this and I'm leading with that. And that's it. And I just pray, I thank God and I say, Alhamdulillah, I think I've met my purpose.
As I told you, we connect through the LinkedIn. I feel that energy. And this is the first time I met with you, and I can tell with that. And one things I can see, and this is the area where I need to know more about your philosophy as a leader and what define your principle as a leader. But I keep hearing from you, we. Now, let me tell you how I see you when you tell we. We is very confusing for me. With all respect, I don't mean anything, but I have a little bit like what you have right now in your situation. I've been in Saudi. I am Arab, but I don't feel myself like I am a Saudi. So now I am in Canada. I don't feel like I am Canadian, but I don't feel I am a Canadian. I still feel there is a difference. I'm proud to be in both country, but still, for you, I feel you. You came not from Arab country and raised in Arab country, went to the US and you are Muslim there, still you are not part from them, then come back. So with those division, you are non-Arab, live in the Arab, but with the Western mindset.
Yes, exactly. Can you imagine how my mind
Yeah,
is? And that's why I feel I'm thankful for it because it opened my mind. I'm more malleable and my brain is easy to adjust and adapt. And most of us nurses are adaptable, but I felt that's why I told you my background because it makes sense. The way I am is because of my background. If I didn't go through all that, I don't think I would be where I'm at right now. That makes sense,
it
like,
does.
it
Why
has
I'm
to be a
doing
complete
this,
story.
I found now Canada is one of the most welcoming country for the immigrant and newcomer, and they appreciate their background and they looking for diversity. The challenge based on the regulatory bodies mafia, when you get in here, you cannot find your role or experience appreciated. You are appreciated as legacy, but when it's coming for profession is not there. The opposite side in the Arab country, they appreciate that and they will give you the opportunity to gain those knowledge and experience where you take it from everywhere. So I'm asking this you to see if Arab country and let's be particular GCC have give you the opportunity to take your international experience and this unique mix and give you the floor to see your impact and what is your leadership, or you start to have that obstacle because you are not part from them.
Yes. So, it's interesting because, a lot of people ask me that how are you still there and what's going on? What are your challenges? And, they expect me to say, I'm not accepted. They expect me to say they don't accept me. But I cannot say that because they accepted me with open arms. And the only reason why was because I wanted to be accepted. I was opening up for them. I have, mashallah, alhamdulillah, I had a lot of opportunities in America. I had as a nurse practitioner, as a leader I didn't go to Saudi Arabia for more opportunity. Does that make sense? I went to Saudi Arabia because I really wanted to give something that I learned in my life because my life, I think it's very interesting and give it to them. So I went there and I wanted to give my children a good, peaceful life because my life as a child was very peaceful. So I went there for a different experience for my children's safety and security. And I was expecting that they will accept me. And because I was going there with the mind that I have to kind of understand them again, because I never worked here, right? This is new for me. So I let them accept me and I accepted them. So I want to learn Arabic. So I'm learning the words. I show them the effort. I give them the respect. And thank God being a Muslim, I understand, the culture. But I'm asking them questions. I'll ask them about their last names, tell me about the tribes. How do you live your life, their customs? So I'm showing interest in their culture. And that's what they love. They love it when I wear the abayas. They love it when I'm saying, can you tell me this in Arabic? I felt that they feel that I'm a US citizen, I'm higher. No, it's nothing about passports because in different countries, if you have passport, you're going to go up, right? For me, it's not that. It's like I'm with them. Tell me how you do this. How do you eat with the dates? You eat the tahini, you dip it in I'm trying to understand them. And I felt that I've had no obstacles as a person, as a profession.
Mm,
As a profession, definitely there is obstacles. That's a different story because it's not that they are, as a person, they're accepting me, but as a profession, as a nurse practitioner, it's scary because the physicians they get threatened by our
yeah.
profession because we are independent, we are confident, we are assessing, we're diagnosing. So in that perspective, I feel the obstacle, but they still are very accepting. So I have done so many like presentations and meetings with CMO, with CEO, with the chairman. And just so they just don't know the profession. So try to find solutions to, okay, this is the hindrance. What do I need to do? So for me to be accepted, I have to accept them. For me to be accepted as a nurse practitioner, as a director, I need them to see us as a collaborator than an enemy. I'm not an enemy. We're friends. We're together.
Mm.
So yeah, these are two different things, but Alhamdulillah, I've been
So what I understand also from you and being part from this community, and I understand how they are think, uh, your experience, it's accepted. What I meant from here, so no one will come for you and told you, listen, you don't have Arabic or Saudi experience. I know you have intensive experience, but none of them in Saudi. So we will overlook this experience. This is what happened in Western. You can come, and that not necessarily from the Arab country. I know doctors came from Germany, where is the best medicine ever. When they came here, they overlooked that and they told them, sorry, you don't have Canadian experience.
yeah, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that is not a case what I meant in your situation. Is this that right still?
Absolutely, because they really appreciate the experience, because if I went there with 20 years experience and they say, "Oh, no, 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 you're just a novice nurse." I would be like, "No, I'm not." I would be so offended. But I'm going to tell you, when I went from Qatar and I came back for a year in the US. So I had my business, but I said, I want to work just like PRN on the weekends as well, because you want to keep your skills up, right? So what happened was, I did one interview. So this girl tells me, she's interviewing me and she's like, "Where were you the last, 4.5, 5 years?" And I told them Qatar. So the girl who was interviewing me for this position, she says, "So it was on the US?" And I said, "No, it was in Qatar, but I was with Northwestern Medicine working as a nurse." She wouldn't accept my experience. She was putting it as a gap. I'm like, "How can you put this at a gap?" So this happened. And I said, "You know what? Forget it. This is not a company that I would want to work anyways." So I kind of said, "You know what? I don't feel comfortable, because if my experience is going to be disregarded, then I don't feel like I need to continue with the interview." And then I interviewed somewhere else and they were like, "Oh my God, of course we want this experience." And, it was like, I was really shocked, because when one person told me, "We can't accept your experience from Qatar because it was not on American soil," and then another person who actually had an experience working in the Dearborn area and seeing people from other communities was more open to it. So it really depended on that company and how they value experience. So yes, when I went to Saudi, they valued my experience, they value my degree, they value my certificates. They really value, and they want to hear me. They want to hear the experience and absorb as much as they can. So they respect me for that. So I face kind of both from both sides.
So you mentioned very interesting point right now when you mention you don't want to work with this company or this employer because they disregard your experience.
Experience.
So everyone as a clinician feel hesitate to leave the direct care or bedside to move for any other job or sometime to shift the career whatever within the healthcare industry or something else. So you teach me right now with those few minutes, you define your purpose and every time you utilize this experience to work for you and to take this advantage. My question here for you, how you choose to come with this to move away from what is not working for you and make it working for you and help you to identify your next chapter or next move. When you answer this, try to back as you are young, and this is for our young nurses to not be afraid to make any change or move or to be out of the script to make their movement. So in that time, how you manage this to make all those, let's say, courage movement and take the decision to move forward?
It's a really, really good question, because a lot of people ask me like how you can do this and how can you leave and how can you do this. Even going from a bedside nurse to a nurse practitioner was a choice, right? I was going from bedside critical care to outpatient primary care. To be honest with you, the best advice that I would give to all the young nurses and who are intimidated, you really have to know yourself. You have to know what you want and what your
Do
purpose
you?
is. Because when you know, when you're self-aware and when you know your purpose, everything just makes it easy. So in my mind, I said to myself, I'm going to sell my house, sell our cars. We're going to move to Qatar. When we're saying this, because I want to do more. I want to change lives of other people. I felt that I have changed enough life in the US. Now I have to make a difference somewhere else. And I was very confident that I will be able to do it, because my purpose was only purpose to make a difference in lives of others who maybe are not exposed to the experience that I have, being a woman, being Muslim, living in a Western community, being raised in an Arabic community. Like how, so really, it was knowing myself. And I actually did not realize that that's what my strength was until maybe when I moved to Saudi. I realized that how was I able to do this? Like I was thinking about it retrospectively, that how can I do this jump? And it was really just saying that I'm going to do this. And you know what? My heart is in the right place. So if my intention is good, I'm not harming anyone. If my intention is good, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just our God, just aligns those path in front of you and takes away that fear. So if you have a purpose, you write it down and you say, I'm going to reach that goal no matter what, even if it takes me to move to a state, to a different country, because that's your happiness. That's your purpose for yourself. It was not for my husband.
Mm.
I had some bits for my children, but ultimately it was for me. I wanted to grow as a person, but I wanted to change lives while I was growing. So really, if you make a plan for yourself, write it down and never be afraid if you're leading with good intentions, because everything always falls into place.
Yeah, and here it came also one things to double down and discuss more about this movement and those courage movement. So you Muslim, I am Muslim, I am proud I'm Muslim, alhamdulillah. And in the
Alhamdulillah.
Western, the religious is sensitive topic. Without getting that, I want from you to speak for who don't believe in anything, as religiously they believe in any driving. So take one of those transition. What advice you could give her or him about navigating ambiguity and self doubt for anyone want to do that? So me and you, I agree totally with you. My driver is Allah, but for someone,
Alhamdulillah.
okay, more materialistic, okay, what is your advice for them?
Sure. So, I'm going to say the same thing, actually, and just removing that one part is that the driver is you. The driver is you in the mirror. If you have no one that you believe in or whatever, it's you. When you look at yourself in the mirror and see, what do I want from life? What do I want next? You just graduated. Okay, I'm doing this for like last 3 years. What am I going to do next? What do you really want out of this life? I want to stay home and work remotely. Make it happen. Look for those jobs that are going towards that direction. Okay, I want to be teaching. Okay, start looking at the colleges, universities, so you can expand on that knowledge, get certificates, get your master's, get your PhD, get your doctorate, because you want to go on that path. So you don't have to believe in anything, any entity, but in yourself, because at the end of the day, it's just you and yourself. So if you truly look at yourself in the mirror and say, what do I want from myself and my life in the next 5 years? You will get your answer. You are your own motivator and you are your own happiness. You are your own success.
Now,
But if
Munazza,
you don't
I
do it,
want from
yeah,
you, not only because you as a Munazza, because also as a leader, you have to manage a lot of the stuff and keep them motivated and put them the track and let's see the challenge as an opportunity. All those leadership aspects. I came across this question every time as a coach, and they ask me, Anas, I don't know what I want. So I want from you, based not in the coaching style, if someone came for you, okay, because sometimes when we give advice, they thought this is something more commercial to take our services. Now, as a human to human, someone from your team came and told you, I don't know what I want. How they
absolutely.
will know?
A lot of the young generation, this is the most of the time what it is. This is what they say. I don't know what to do with this. I have this and I don't know what to do with it. And you know how I start the conversation? I tell them it's very simple. And I'm very traditional. I do tell them to take out a pen and a paper, but I tell them to write down how they see themselves. I tell them to list their strength, and I don't talk about weaknesses. I say your improvement. So just list down, what do you think of yourself? Like, okay, I'm confident or I'm shy. I am enthusiastic about this. I love singing. So I I try to let them learn themselves. So this is where I start. I'm like, take your pencil and paper and start writing things. Write different adjectives, 10 different adjectives or 5 adjectives that describe you. And they might, they put things, I am silly, I'm funny. These are all can be used as a strength to understand where this person wants to go just by describing themselves. If someone comes in, I'm a loser. I feel like I'm so, nobody can hear me. Nobody acknowledges me. When they come up with that, I have to change my direction with them and find out what is going on. So if you don't find out the root problem and not understand who this person is, I cannot help them. So when anyone comes, I'll immediately start off, who are they? Where were they born? Well, who is in their family? What do they like? What are their hobbies? Because when they're talking about themselves, they are learning about themselves. And then I tell them to write that on the piece of paper. So that's how I get them. You cannot say, okay, tell me, because they're 19, they have no idea. But when they're talking, they're telling about themselves. And they'll be surprised because when I tell them, I heard that you are a leader. You've led all these projects. You've done this in your life. You were the team leader for your school, for your class project. That's where I listen. But that's where it needs to be, to know that person and to let them know to be okay to talk about themselves. But without that person, this is more where emotional intelligence comes. And in order to be emotional intelligent, the first thing is self-awareness. So when someone has nothing and they have no guidance, the first step is to know them so you can help them, coach them to know more about them and kind of extract information from there. So they see themselves from a different lens, but you want them to see them from their own lens.
You do that because you have different roles. So you are teaching on the university and you do that in the hospital. So it is easy for you. Or do you think any director or leader on or CNO in the hospital, this is one of key responsibility for them to take care for their staff and keep them psychological aware or psychological safety?
The number one thing, since COVID, a lot of things has changed. So after COVID, it has affected the whole world. There has been a 40% increase in depression and suicides since COVID, since 2020. And this is uh, data from WHO. Saying that, at this time, people need more and more emotional support than they have before. So making people feel psychological safe is the way to open them up so they can see them. When they're safe, they feel empowered. When they're empowered, they look at themselves, they look at their strengths, they speak up, they share more of themselves. So definitely any part of the world, treating them with emotional intelligence, teaching them how to be emotional intelligent, teaching them how to be adaptable. Anyone can have an IQ, but having emotional intelligence and psychological safety actually comes under that. That's the way to lead. You have to lead that way. Otherwise, you cannot work with the newer generations now. Just because what COVID has done. COVID was not just disease and people died, millions of people died. It changed lives. It changed not only economy, the mental health. It's really broken families. And, we have to learn from that because we're going to think about it after 10 years and see what kind of population we're dealing with. And if we don't save them now, we won't have people taking care of us. They will be depressed, locked up somewhere, unmotivated. So we have to lead differently. Before, it was like my leader before. I don't remember my leader saying, I'm talking about like 5 years ago or maybe 10 years ago, that, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? Tell me about your family. What are you doing? What are your plans? And no, it would be like, okay, so what's the next shift you're going to work? Can you pick up something? Can you do overtime? Can you do this? It used to be so like, very detached, that you're just working, putting your schedule and move on. I don't remember having these conversations with my leader, nor that I had conversations being a manager in the US with someone. I would be like, oh, hi, how are you? And okay, so when are you working? Whatever. But now I've switched gears. Like if I don't know the person, I feel like I don't get what I need from them. I feel like there's a barrier in communication if I don't start off that way.
Crystal clear. And here, maybe I want to share with you part from bring this podcast alive and bring a leader like you. I started to see not only me, everyone in the industry, that I started to feel when we are in the school, we only focus on the hard skills, how to do, how to understand anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, all those things, patient care, treatment plan, all of those stuff. When we start to go for the real challenge for the marketplace and start to take care for the patient, we found ourselves we are not ready, we are not confident, we have self-doubt, and we burned faster than we expected. Myself, after 2.5 years, I decided to change my career. I was in the ICU. None of organization, either in the academia, on the organization, educational organization, or the hospital, help me to be psychological safe, or to let me to know how to discover who I am, what I'm doing. The main reason from this, why I'm giving you this background, the challenge till now is the same. We study in the school, we graduated unprepared, not market ready. We go for the hospital, we start to feel depressed and unsatisfied, also feel unsafe sometimes. Violence came from patients sometimes bullying from our staff, and see there is no future, either to stay depressed or leave. So in all cases, I'm not happy when I started till I now. So still we are in the same dilemma in the infinity loop. So my question for you, from you lens, either from the teaching perspective or from leader perspective, how we can break this chain?
Well, burnout has increased 35% since COVID as well. And burnout can lead to depression. So what we're actually currently doing, because I find myself lucky to be in both. So in academia, when I was looking through the curriculum, I realized that there was nothing that talked about the real life skills, right? Even a class on emotional intelligence, even a class on well-being, even just crucial conversations. So we're teaching them, the skills, but we're not teaching them the life skills that we need to teach them. So I actually proposed that we should add a course. It can be, any kind of course. Emotional intelligence, I basically offered that. I said we can teach a course of emotional intelligence to these young 17, 18-year-old girls, and we can offer it every year until they graduate. Just so when they graduate with the full package and be ready to deal with what they're going to deal once they go into the real world. That's the academia side. So I'm not the dean, but I made the suggestion. The second thing, what we're doing in the
Here,
hospital,
Mosna, anyone take this advice, if any of those organizations, and try to adopt or create a new program to take this advice, or still under discussion?
no. So you know what they did when I told the dean that? So they said, you know what? We are concentrating on the well-being now. And I'm so glad you mentioned that. They're actually going to do a conference in April. That is one of the topics are going to be will be well-being and emotional intelligence, inshallah. And I'll be doing a workshop on that. So they understand, because they do a yearly survey and they realize in their students that they are complaining of burnout already being in school. And they haven't even graduated nursing school yet. They're already talking about work-life balance and they haven't even worked yet. So we have to give that tool. So that's why they said, you know what, we are going to do this. It's still not part of the curriculum, but they are thinking, but they're actually receptive. So academia side, they are receptive and they have to make a change. The other side, which is the hospital, alhamdulillah, we were able to actually start a program last year. Well, this year, February, we got data from the anti-bullying committee and nurses, and found out like what the issue was, what's the percentage of nurses, what are the complaints that they have, and kind of started an anti-bullying campaign, which we later named, now it's named Be Kind campaign in our hospital. So we started off calling it anti-bullying, and what we did were you worked in the highest or the lowest RN survey percentages, which was the ED. So we started off there. So what was it? We went there with the information about bullying, what bullying is, to pick out bullying and how you cope with bullying. And it's okay if you are bullying. You can reach out to these resources like our counselors, our therapists, our family medicine physicians. So, we saw a shift in the change in culture because we went to the bedside nurses. So, alhamdulillah, we started this and we're working on well being now as well. And what we do and what I do specifically for leaders, every Wednesday, I do Wellness Wednesday and with the leaders, because if our leaders are feeling okay, it's going to trickle down to the bedside staff. So I started this, I think, in June or July. So every Wednesday, I do Wellness Wednesday for the leaders. So we have, CNOs there, we have all the head nurses, the directors, and we do team building exercises with them. So I do it, I lead it. So it'll be different exercises. It would be about indirectly talking about the strength. So one thing I did, which I thought it was a really nice exercise. So it was about, I talked about Adam Grant's theory about givers, takers, and matchers. And we talked about how people are givers, some are takers, and some are matchers. Matchers are half-half, so they're givers and takers. And then takers are the ones who keep taking and don't give anything in return. And then we have givers who keep giving and then eventually burnt out. So we talked about this concept, and they were so surprised because they said, which one do we want to work with? What kind of people? Because all of us, truly, sometimes we don't know which one we are. There's actually a really nice tool that you can do to find out if you're a giver, taker, or matcher. So you really want to be a giver. Why? You want to be a giver with boundaries. So this is what I tried to do is show them a perspective that you don't always have to be a taker. So you're taking from your staff. You're taking, you need to work this overtime. We're short. Give me, give me, give me, give me. They get burnt out. You have to give in return. You have to what? Recognition in return. Give them a pizza party one day. Give them opportunities to develop professionally. So they want to do, you see a conference, motivate them to go, push them to go. So when they see that my leader is giving at the same time, not taking, that helps with their well-being because they see this person doesn't only care about me just working, but also cares about me as an individual and wants me to succeed. So then you want to work with people who are givers, but with boundaries, because givers will drain because they'll say, yes, yes, that overtime. Yes, yes. You have to train them to have with boundaries. No, I did overtime, like 40 hours over. I cannot do it next week. I need to really spend time with my family. That's a giver with boundaries. So I do these, every week. And I really appreciated the head nurses would come to me and say, I did this with my team and they used the tool with the team and they said it was an eye opener because people got to see that, oh my God, I am a taker. And they didn't think about this until she talked about that concept with them. And it was so beautiful because I was like, that's how you change culture. You made them what? Self-aware. It was just, so this is what we're doing as well-being. Of course, you can't change culture suddenly. It has to be baby steps. Like you get frustrated that, oh my God, this person is like this.
Your cam is off. Do you see me?
Oh, yeah, I see you. What happened? Is it my Wi-Fi?
No, yeah, you come back.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. So what I was saying is that, so we're already doing this. And I noticed that that's why I told you that I opened a mental health clinic first, because I see that there's a need. But being in this leadership role, I saw these leaders suffering. So alhamdulillah, I do my Wellness Wednesdays. Of course, it's not happening right now. But when I go back, I'll start doing it again. And my thing is for them to understand it. So I play games and then I, bring chocolates, and they always love the fact that I bring chocolates and, and they love it if it's from America, if I have a chocolate like Hershey's and Kisses.
However, in Saudi, it's more delicious than here.
So they love it. So you show them that it's okay to give, and and that's how you change culture, is by changing the culture of the leaders. And I feel like we are doing it as a hospital. And alhamdulillah, like our CNO, Dr. Hausawi, is on the same page. So he's on the same bandwidth, so which makes it easier for us to execute. Because if our CNO was not on the same bandwidth of improving the well-being, I would keep reaching a roadblock. So we are actually doing it. We are already doing it, and we're trying to, like, I've attended a lot of conferences to talk about this just because we want everyone to be on board. It is working in our hospital, and hopefully we'll have data, inshallah, next year to show that how these small things has changed.
And I'm happy to take those results and share it and to amplify
Inshallah, we're gonna do a
Inshallah.
research. It'll be like a research
Inshallah.
project. What my
One
experience.
question here, and this is not necessarily if I am a nurse. I am a student. My years, I have those conferences and summits for well-being. Let's assume I joined some of those, but I wasn't really focused for that. So I'm more about partying, live my life. It's later on.
Yeah.
Then when I start my career, I found this is really it's serious, not what was I thought, but still with all resource available in the place, and I try to put you in the assumption with the all resources in the place, and what I have done in I taken in the university is not enough for me. I'm broke. I don't have money. Don't have the passion. I don't have the time, but I need to fix that. What's your advice for me?
Yeah, that can be a very complex answer because people who are unmotivated and they're in this profession. So you said any generic, right? So my advice for people who are lost is to, of course, you can only do so much for someone. Okay. We can give all the resources, but if this person is not utilizing the resources, then what do you do in that? Right. And the problem is not that we're not giving the resources. The problem is maybe we're not using the right way to market those resources. Because people, if I say, oh, there's therapists come, oh, I'm not crazy. You know how it is in Arab countries, right? I'm going to go see a therapist. What is wrong? I'm not crazy. Am I crazy? I'm not psycho. I'm not crazy. So it's the way it is both side party is failing. One, not to communicate the resources the way they understand. And second, that, like an example would be that we're calling the well-being that the clinic that I'm going to have, we're calling it well-being clinic. We're not calling it a mental health. The one that I opened was mental health intentionally. I use those words, but for the staff, I'm using well-being clinic. So it's not, it's going to be about that, but it's not really. It's a holistic clinic. So for someone who is lost, they're very tough to deal with because you have to understand how their mental health is. Because if their mental health is poor, they're not using the resources, they're not going to excel in their work, they're not going to be able to open up to their leaders. So we need to find out and actually hand deliver the resources and pick out those people. So I have someone, maybe he's an accountant in the hospital, and I feel the energy is low. I might talk to them. I might say, hey, I noticed this XYZ, what's going on? So for that person, I would advise that what's going on, I notice that you don't have energy anymore. I notice a change. Is there anything I can do to help you? So for those people, they have to take some accountability. It comes down to that person who is not interested, is broke, is this. Take some accountability to improve yourself, to find those resources, to dig deep, because I cannot be responsible 100%. You have to be 50%. I will be 50%. And I will do my best to give you those resources, change my communication style, come down to your level. But if you don't make that step forward, it's impossible. It's impossible to make any change. And that's why, as a leader, as a person, we have to be persistent. And that's where patience comes. I cannot give up on those people. I would probably nag them. I will check up on them. I will say, what else can I do for you? I will tell them to reach out to their parents, their family members, their friends, but I will try to help them as much as I can, but there's going to be a limit. So the person needs to take accountability and do something, because you cannot blame the world when you yourself are not taking the accountability and ownership of your actions.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So here, just to wrap up and close this chapter for young generation, I came aware about statistic, and also from my experience, the female, they are well educated, more knowledgeable, and they are more committed for their future and what they are doing, but they are not self-confidence and every time hesitant. In the other side, less educated male, not knowledgeable like girl, feel more confident and presenting themselves and take the opportunity, the other not take it. So from your experience as Western live in the Arab country, you see this is as a pattern, or this is only came through my network and through my I'm living right now. Do you agree with this?
1000% I agree with you. 1000%. And like in the community I am right now, you see how the country has transitioned, right? So I'm going to talk about Saudi Arabia. Country has transitioned. It has opened really quickly in the last 5 to 6 years. More women are coming in a workforce. More women are going into universities, getting their PhDs, getting it from all around the world. And then when they come back to this country that is trying to progress. They're changing the mentality, right? These women did not grow up in a household that their mothers were working. So they don't have an example at home. They don't have that, that person that they say, yeah, my mom used to go to work at 8 a.m. and back at 5 p.m. and cook and clean and do this. And they don't have those examples. They are the ones who are setting the precedent of this. So they need a lot of coaching, a lot of mentorship. And I see it. And I see it in the ones, they're like 30 years old and they would have 2 masters and PhD. And when you talk to them, I'm like, something's not matching because the confidence level will be like 0. And then their credentials are like longer than their names. And you know how long their names are anyways. And I'm like, what's missing? It's because they don't believe in themselves. They don't have that confidence because they haven't seen someone else with that confidence. That can I be confident? Can I do this? Even though there are a lot of women who are very confident, moved out from their family homes, living their own life, working, opening their companies. But there are a majority of the women who doubt themselves and they're like, oh, I guess he will just take this position. I see it because I'm in a women's university. So I see it all the time. And when I just say, you are so amazing, you have done XYZ, you have to take that and just fly with it. They're like, what? You believe in me? I can do it? It's like they're waiting for someone to say you can do it. It's as simple as I believe in you and you can do it. And they're like, what? And they're like, okay, I'm going to take this course. I was like, that was easy.
Yeah,
They're missing that.
It's become crystal clear with me when I work with men. When we go with the job description, let's assume there is 10 requisite or 10 requirements they need to achieve in order to apply for this. If this man achieve one, he see himself confident. I will apply.
That's it. He will do it.
The ladies, they have 9 out of 10 and still doubt. Can I apply?
Because we're women. We think about it. We're not as risk takers naturally as men. Men are risk takers. They will take the risk. They will just do it. And then women will self-doubt. And that's what we want to stop and get rid of, because the self-doubt is what keeps them away from opportunities. I said, speak up respectfully and just do it. Just go for it. Who's stopping you? Don't write. And I tell them, don't just write it. Don't just say, I'm going to do it. Just do it. Just act upon it. Because if you fail, you can just do something else. But act. Don't think about it, because that moment when you're like, should I do it? Should I do it? That will never happen. So when you think about it, and even human nature, when you act upon it, when you immediately do something, you will get that instant gratification of success because you actually did it. You actually did it, and then everything else will come. Just do it.
Just
I tell
do
them,
it.
literally, just do it.
Just do it. So we speak about the new generation and how the challenge they have, and you give them a ton of advice and recommendation. My question for you, and not necessarily it's happened with you, but from your experience, when you have someone like your peer in leadership level or someone under your supervision, not necessarily it's happened with you. If I am a leader and I have someone equally my peer or under my supervision, but they have a huge resistance for any change. They are obstacle. So, and that sometimes they not believe me and what I'm doing is real. And sometimes they start to be my bottleneck. So what you think it is the best way to handle those? Shall we get rid from them or try to accommodate them to be part of the team? However, they are very challenging and they don't see any value from all those modern technique, those cycle. I am old school. That will not happen. So what is your advice?
We find a lot of people like that, men and women, young and old. And resistance will be there. Friction will always exist. And change is very hard for anyone, for any individual. So, you know, I'll go back to what I said before. In order to change or bring about a change, you have to know who you're dealing with. You have to speak their language. If I don't speak their language, they will not listen. They will continue to hinder the growth because it does not benefit them and they don't understand it. So if it's a person who's analytic, I will speak to them in analytic language, meaning I will give them data only. I won't tell them, I need this well-being clinic. I will tell them, this is the rate of depression. We've had X amount of suicides. We need to lower this number. We need to have this clinic. So you deal with that person in the language that they better understand, because communication, what's lacking is the communication. They're just not understanding. And if that person is on a different vision, a different purpose, is not aligned with your vision, there's no way, there is no way you will be able to persuade them or tell them anything until I align with them. So if I give an example of my leader, so someone who's above me, I really would recommend that you have to find out what they're looking for. So I approach them that what is their purpose? What do they want from XYZ? And someone who's a subordinate, so someone who is like, who reports to me, I would tell them and understand them that what is their purpose and try to align their purpose or try to align my purpose with their purpose. I really work hard on humans themselves. I don't give up on these people. So if someone is a hinder or someone is toxic or someone, I try to find out, and which I recommend to leaders, to find out what is what is their purpose. And the only way you can get people on board if they understand and follow your same vision. And it doesn't have to be the same vision, but it can be this similar. But you have to know what their vision is. And the way to know is to talk to them.
I cannot get enough from you. Still, I have a lot of a question. I'm not covered it.
I'm
I know
sorry.
it's been 1 hour. So last question, and I will close for today. What is your advice for any student, whatever their background, to prepare them for real life, for the work?
My advice would be investing in themselves. Investing in themselves. You can take your courses, you can be an engineer, you're investing, but you have to invest in yourself, meaning you to invest in your knowledge, continue to invest in your health, because these two are what is going to make you successful. And I would really advise younger generation, older generation, anyone, if you invest in yourself and are loyal to yourself, any challenge, any obstacle, any country, any job will fall into place itself. You have to make yourself strong. And to do that, you have to invest in yourself, no matter what it is. Taking an extra class to understand authenticity. Like you have to make that time for yourself. You have to.
Thank you. And I swear this is a final question. And this is very stupid question. This should be the first question for you. Why you become a nurse?
That's actually, I became a nurse because I could not afford to become a doctor.
Okay. Okay. Typical.
I'm sorry, but I wanted to become a doctor and my parents could not afford it because I was an F1. I couldn't get scholarships. I couldn't get anything. And I said, what's the closest thing to nursing? I mean, to medicine. And it came about nursing. And wallahi, I'm going to tell you the truth. When I was applying for this, I was so scared. I'm scared of blood draws. I would pass out. I would cry. I'm still scared of needles. And I said, how will I be able to do this? And I said, you know what? For me to reach what I want to reach, I have to do this. So I did that because of that reason. And I said, I'm not going to forever stay as bedside. And I knew that when I was 18 years old. I'm not going to stay in a bedside. I'm just doing this so I can become a doctor. I want to become a doctor. So I really did that. And I am there. Inshallah, I will graduate with my doctorate degree in 2027. I will have my DR in front of my name, not a physician, but it will be a doctor. I'm still going to be able to reach my goal.
Philadelphia University also, right?
It's from University of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
UPenn.
Penny. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. And this is well-known university. They are very special in the medicine and in the nursing as well. Yeah,
Yes, it's
it's
amazing.
well known. So thank you for your time, Muzna, and for
Yeah.
sure I will bring you back again to discuss. My thought was to discuss more about technology, patient safety, and different culture, to compare different healthcare system between West and Arab and between the Arab itself.
It was different topic. It's okay.
We will. I will
There's
bring you
more.
later on. Hopefully, we will find time when you are in Riyadh, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And right now, also, I realize also somehow we are matching.
Yeah, that's the first thing I realized, that we are matching. Look, we're already connected even before we connect.
Really, you are first thing. This is the last thing. Men and women.
You're a man. I'm sorry. You're a man. I'm sorry. You're going to notice things later. I was trying to read all the words in the back. I see dua. I see hope. What's the one behind you? Read all of them out. Yes. Sabr and dua. Yeah. Beautiful. I love that.
I really am very happy. I wish if I can meet you
Munazza.
in person.
Munazza.
Munazza. Sorry. What I said?
Muzna.
Musna. Who was Musna? Thanks. You are not my wife.
Your wife's name is Muzna?
No. Huda.
Huda. Oh my God.
Thank you, Munazza, for giving me that time and
Of course.
opportunity. I wish we make it in person, but hopefully sometime we can make it together. It's still really is not 6 hours from here. We can make it next time, inshallah.
Yeah,
And please tell Dr. Hussawi my greeting for him.
I will. I
I'll
definitely
give
will.
him shukret on behalf of me, from you.
I will.
Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If this episode sparked something in you, here's how you can keep our mission alive. Subscribe to Uncharted Narratives Surdiyat. Leave us a 5-star review. It helps more amazing people discover our stories. Share an episode that moved you with a colleague or friend. Connect with me on LinkedIn and join our healthcare innovation community. Together, we're not just telling stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay passionate, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in healthcare. See you in the next episode of Uncharted Narratives Sardiyat.